Hey everybody, it's Mark Ruggiero here, Clark Commando 1983, and it's about 1:30 in the morning on May 18th, 2024, and how do you know I've been pretty ill lately, so slowly recovering, so I felt good enough to get another turn in for my after action report here for Learn to Play for GMT's unconditional surrender. Should be a fairly quick turn since it's February of 1940, so I expect the weather to be kind of crappy. Not a whole lot going on except for politics. Prepping to invade Denmark and Norway at the first opportunity. And not quite there yet, I think, where I need to be. I do have in my events box my surprise attack and my airdrop, which I'll need. And get some couple things, still trying to mobilize some armies. Get ready for the invasion of France and the Low Countries. Once we get all that rolling, going with the traditional strategy here. So let's get going. So we're going to roll for the weather here, and I'm going to do that. You won't see it off camera, but we're going to do, we got cold zone, moderate, and the warm. Been a little bit, so just as a reminder, rule book I'm using is the Living Rules off the GMT website, which are the most up to date, and the player aid cards dated 2024 off of Board Game Geek. Why they're not in the same place, I don't know. So, that being said, let's pull up the weather chart. I think it's been a little while, so we're still on December, February, and when it makes a difference, I'll show you the weather chart, but it's not going to make a difference. So for the cold zone, we get a 4, which is severe, and we get a 3 for the mild zone, which is poor weather. In the war zone, we get a 6, so severe, so we're going to have severe, poor, and severe. So that means this can be a quick turn. All right, which is good because that way we can have a nice short video. So no declarations of war. Once again, to repeat the obvious, if you've been watching, you do everything in faction order each phase, which is Axis, then Western powers, then Soviets. Western Soviets can't declare war on anybody because the Nazi-Soviet pact's still in effect. And the Axis aren't going to do anything. So economic phase, so you do the factory count. Major powers on their player aid have a multiple. So there again, the factory count for the Axis is 13 times 2 is 26 production points. And for the French, they got 8, so they'll be at 16. And the United Kingdom's at 9, so they'll be at 18 production points. Soviets are up to 12, so they'll have 24 production points. All right, that's all off camera. You can't see that, but on the player aid cards. No strategic warfare. And let's see here. I think I did 1, 2, 3 armies and 2 air flotillas or air fleets is the garrison requirements. So we're going to go to operations. We're not going to do any. If you remember in the operations segments, first the Axis go, then the Western Allies, and then Russia. And if hopefully you've watched some of the other videos, you know you pay production points to activate an army. Everything in the game, the leg armies have 8 movement points, and everything else in the game has 10. And you utilize the movement points to do attacks and whatnot. Everybody's in supply, so all around, so nothing there. Replacements. So this is where first thing you do is a reminder is fleets, convoys, that kind of stuff. You pay a production cost, which is on the player aid chart, and they can lose up to two sorties each. So the British will spend 3 production points to remove a couple sorties off the convoy that's in the Suez. And the Germans, and I'm going just out of sequence here because obviously the Axis would be first going to spend 1 production point to flip this partially mobilized army. Let's see, then we go to mobilization. There's nobody in the mobilization box, except the Germans do have 1 army. So they're going to spend 1 production point, and they can bring on an army. And I think I got enough in the West. And there's no real, well, you know what, but we want to set up something kind of down here towards Yugoslavia, because we're going to eventually probably go after them. And if you remember, when you mobilize, except for the Soviets, you spend 1 production point for leg armies, 2 production points for mechanized armies. Those can come on at half strength, and then any air flotillas would cost, let's look really quick so I don't give you bad info. I'm going off of memory. These would cost 3 production points, and they come on with 4 sorties. So you're going to have to spend some time in the replacement phase doing that. So now we go to the diplomacy phase. So everybody's got plenty of production points. So they'll all spend 5 each. Remember, you can look at what's in the cup. So the Axis are up first. They got a pro-Axis. There's 2 political success. There's 1, 2, 3 no events. A political failure, which would be bad. A pro-Soviet marker, pro-Western Allied, and the area seized. So I spent my 5. So my choices are I could draw out of the cup, which, I don't know. I think I might do, well, let's see if I do that. What am I going to do with it? If it was to get lucky and get a success, I could align Hungary, which wouldn't be a bad thing, I don't think. I'd have to look up one conditional event. Or I could align Romania, which could be a good thing. Or we could put a pro-axis in Yugoslavia. Interesting. Or Sweden. Or we could align Italy, which we don't want to do yet, because that would generate a Mediterranean crisis. We don't want to do that just yet, because that would free up some of the UK stuff. I think I'm going to spend my 5. It's a little bit of a gamble, but throw in a pro-axis chit. So then next up is the Western Allies. They're going to spend their 5 to draw. And they draw no event. So that makes so then the Soviets are going to draw. So they're 5. And they pick a no event. That's a big break for the axis, because that means next turn, the axis will have a pretty decent shot with what's left in the cup of getting some kind of diplomatic success. And let's look. I think that's going to conclude the February turn. So we've got a nice little quick video in here. Yep, victory check turn and then end of turn phase. So in my little notebook here, I'm going to put the next up. We'll do that later when I get a little more energy. We're going to do the March turn. Now that could turn out to be an exciting turn if the weather clears up. Let's see here. So, March. And odds of it getting clear though in the milds are only 1 in 6. And then depending on what the weather is, well, I guess April's still a shot, not a very good shot, is it? The warm zone for March looks like a 1 or a 2. Definitely would prefer fair weather to do the invasion of Norway, which we get a pretty decent chance in May. It's about a 50-50 shot. So, but we'll see. We might look at it as an option on the poor weather, which probably not as good, but you'll see when I show you the chart next time, on some months, depending on if the weather is poor or worse before, it can increase the odds of kind of bumping the weather to better. So, see what happens. We'll see what happens. May have to figure out how to do it in the poor weather. Because I know when May rolls around, we're going to want to take a good shot at going into the low countries and whatnot. Anyways, I hope I didn't mumble too much. Hopefully my voice came through well, and we'll see you soon. Time to go get some more rest. Thank you.